Hey, Cub fans! Thanks for joining us here at Cubs 24/7, where Randy talks Cubs with delight and unwavering optimism. My optimism turns to glee today because we're going to be talking about what is often referred to as the Sandberg game. I don't usually call it the Sandberg game because it's not descriptive enough. There's too much else that's going on. But it's June 23rd, 1984, and I remember where I was that day. I can tell you exactly where I was, and I watched that game in its entirety. If you know where you were on June 23rd, 1984, you are probably two things, probably getting a little old, and you're probably a Cub fan. So that game, that's the day that a lot of things happened. To me, the things that happened that day, and I'm not talking about the game itself, I'm just talking about what came out of it. I think the first one is Ryne Sandberg became Rhino, and he endeared himself to the Cubs faithful in a way that it never relented. So that, to me, that's the day that Sandberg became Rhino. I think it's also the day where the long-suffering Cub fans, such as myself, who had endured the mediocrity of the 70s Cubs, started to see the light at the end of the tunnel, maybe when Dallas Green got there in the early 80s. But on this day in June of 84, we believed. It was like, it's here. It's on. It's happening. So this 84 Cubs team is going to be the first team that wins in over a decade. We're going to win the division and have just an amazing summer. And that date, June 23rd of 84, is the day where Cub fans started to believe in this group. The group consisted of the lineup for that day is the lineup that the 84 Cubs are. In my mind, this is the lineup. It's Dernier in center. It's Rhino at second base. Gary Matthews, the Sarge, is hitting third, playing left field. Leon the Bull Durham, first base, hitting cleanup. Keith Moreland in right field. Jody Davis catching. Got Ron Say at third. Larry Bowa at short. Those are the 8 guys. To me, that's the 84 Cubs everyday lineup, and that was a good one. Dernier was a fantastic leadoff man, great center fielder. Of course, we know Rhino. Matthews was a phenomenal leader. The Sarge, just an extremely strong presence for the Cubs. Then we had great support staff around them. We had Durham and Moreland. Jody Davis, one of the best catchers the Cubs ever had. An all-star World Series champion in Ron Say, even though Ron was a little bit past his prime. And Larry Bowa at the time was still a phenomenal fielder. Light hitting, switch hitter, but a phenomenal shortstop. So we had a really good team, and that's the 8 guys that comprise the 84 Cubs. So the game was played on national TV. That's one of the reasons that it had the effect that it did. It was televised on NBC as the Saturday game of the week. And I know maybe that doesn't sound like a big deal today, but back then it was a really big deal. To play on national TV on Saturday, the national game of the week, everybody's watching. It's a national audience that's watching that game, and because the Cubs had been so mediocre in the 70s, they just weren't being put on national TV. So this game, the Cubs-Cardinals game that day, was actually the backup. There had to be a rainout. So there was a rainout on the regular scheduled game, so they went to the backup, and that happened to be Cubs-Cardinals. The announcers were Bob Costas and Tony Kubek, and there was no WGN, so radio had Milo Hamilton, Vince Lloyd, Lou Boudreau, and Harry making the call on the radio. The lineups were the 84 lineup. The Cardinals, just coming off a World Series championship in 82, so they were still really good. Lonnie Smith, Ozzie Smith, Willie McGee, Hendrick, Green, Tommy Herr, Howe, Porter, on and on. So that was the lineup, and we're ready to play. So it was really kind of let's see what we've got now, right? The game starts, and we've got the Cardinals, and are the Cubs ready? It's it's still early summer. We've shown some signs, but everybody's still got a little thought in the back of their mind, like, okay, is it really the year or the Cubs going to go ahead and start to fade. And in the first 3 innings, it sure looked like we were going to. After 3, we were down 7-1. And the feeling was, well, here we go. It's, it's just another year. We thought we had something, but doesn't look like it. The 84 Cubs finally in the national spotlight have their chance to show who they are. And before you can blink, we're down 7-1. So Cardinals got 1 in the first. They got 6 in the second. We got 1 in the first, so we're down 7-1. Nobody scored in the 4th inning. The Cardinals were held to nothing in the top of the 5th, and we got 2 in the bottom of the 5th. So we chipped away a little bit. So, okay, a little bit of life. So after the bottom of the 5th, we're down 7-3. So it feels a little better. Then we give up 2 in the top of the 6th, but we come back with 5 in the bottom of the 6th. So it's like, oh, okay, here we come. We chip away at it, and then we erupt for 5. So we come out of the 6th inning, we're right back in it at 9-8. And you can feel it's like, okay, it starts to look the part right there. It's like, okay, we're coming. It might be going to happen. Well, 7th inning, neither team scores. 8th inning, neither team scores. So going into the 9th inning, we're down 9-8. We get to the bottom of the 9th, and it's looking bleak. In fact, the announcers, Bob Costas, was starting to do those preliminary sign-off type things. They kind of thought, well, this is it. Cubs down 9-8. Cardinals had Bruce Sutter closing. So Bruce came in to pitch the 9th. It's like, well, it's lights out. Bruce is coming in. This is going to be it. And somehow, some way, Ryne Sandberg got underneath one of those splitters. I think it was a hanger, probably, if he asked Bruce about it. And he hit a solo home run to left center field. And I'm telling you, that moment was just, it was incredible. And that was Ryne Sandberg coming to the rescue. And he tied that game. And the place was just going absolutely crazy. Just absolutely an insane scene at Wrigley. Well, next inning, top of the 10th, we gave up 2. It's like, well, okay, here we go. Gave up 2 runs. Now we're down 11-9, going into the bottom of the 10th, and it looks like it's over. Sutter's pitching. They start to sign off again. Costas and the crew back there doing the okay, well, it was a great game, and our sponsors are, and they're getting ready to sign off. And, well, with 2 outs, Bobby Dernier coaxes a walks. Yeah, he coaxes a walks, and so he's on first base, and that brings Rhino up. Now, surely not, right? Surely he's not going to do it again. Off Sutter? No, there's no way. Well, he sure does. Ryne Sandberg hits a 2-run homer with 2 outs, down 2, in the bottom of the 10th off Bruce Sutter. After hitting a home run in the 9th inning, he comes back in the 10th and does it again. Well, Harry Carey's losing his mind. WG is funny because NBC was carrying the game. WGN wasn't. So Harry was over in the radio booth with Vince and Lou and Milo Hamilton. Well, you could hear Harry, because the booth was right next to the NBC booth. You could hear Harry doing his holy cow on it. And it was great that you could hear Harry over the NBC announcers doing what Harry would have done. It was phenomenal. So Sandberg ties it up. And, well, now it's tie game. It's 11-11 going into the 11th. We held the Cardinals in the 11th, so now bottom of the 11th. It was a very interesting inning. In the 11th, Leon Durham led off with a walk, stole second. He went to third on a throwing error. So now we got Leon at third, no outs. Cardinals decided to intentionally walk the next two guys to set up the force, hoping they can get a double play. So they intentionally walked Moreland and Jody Davis to load the bases. Well, the guy coming up is a guy you've probably never heard of, pinch hitting Dave Owen. And Dave Owen at the time was hitting 133 as a lefty. So, and Suter's still in the game. Suter came in the ninth. He's still in the game in the 11th. Suter went 3 1/3 innings, gave up 3 hits and 3 earned runs. And then Suter, Suter's an all-star in '84. I mean, this just wasn't going to. This game, there's so much, but to do it is one thing. But to do it off Bruce Suter in 1984, to me, that's what makes it that's incredible. How does Ryne Sandberg hit not 1 but 2 home runs off Bruce Suter? Bruce Suter didn't give up home runs. You can't get under that split. Ryne did it twice, back-to-back innings, national TV. When the game was over both times he came up. So bases loaded, Dave Owen hitting $133, gets enough of it to line one over the infield to score Leon for the 12-11 win. I'm telling you, Wrigley that day came alive. It came alive like it hadn't come alive since '69. It had happened on national TV. Everybody saw it. The '84 Cubs were a thing. Rhino and Dernier were the daily double. It was a phenomenal scene at Wrigley. One of the top 4 or 5, one of the top moments in Wrigley Field history, June 23rd, 1984. Sandberg was mobbed. I mean, it was like nobody left. The crowd was. Sandberg describes it as he went in and did an interview in the Cardinals locker room or the Cardinals dugout, wherever he was, out of sight. Comes back like 15 minutes later, nobody's left. They're still there. He goes in and tries to get to his locker. He can't get to his locker. People are there. Rhino's 24 years old. This is the first time it ever happened. He has now become an entity. He is now Rhino. And he talks about how the crowd just never left. They just would not leave. So that catapulted Ryne Sandberg. He'd already won a Gold Glove, but that catapulted him into the conscience of the national baseball fan who Ryne Sandberg was. He finished that year with a great year. He hit .314, had 200 hits, scored 114 runs, 36 doubles, 19 triples, 19 home runs, 84 RBIs, and another Gold Glove. Lee Smith got the win in that game. Our closer came in, got the win. So, that game, it's called the Sandberg game. If people hear it, they go, "Oh, Sandberg, what did he do? He hit 2 home runs." But it was bigger than that. It was more of a city game where not only did Rhino have a big day, the '84 Cubs had a big day, the Cub fans had a big day, and the Cub organization had a big day on June 23rd, 1984. It was one I'll never forget. I remember seeing it live. You know how you just remember things that are burned into your brain? Both those Sandberg home runs, I can close my eyes and I'm right there. They were unbelievable. What an exciting day. June 23rd, 1984, the day Rhino became Rhino. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll be back with more very soon. Go Cubs, go.